Good afternoon y buenas tardes. Thank you everyone for being here today and being here all day long. I was so honored to be invited to invite. I'm Jessica Vega Peterson. I'm a Multnomah County Commissioner. This is the district that I represent here in this area. It goes from Cesar Chavez all the way out to 148. Prior to becoming a county commissioner, I was a state representative for East Portland for 4 years, where I chaired the House Energy and Environment Committee. So I've worked with a lot of people in this room, both on the agency side and on the community side, in different environmental, climate, and energy issues over the years. So it was a real honor to be a part of this day and the really important discussion that's happening around environmental justice issues. So I wanted to just talk a little bit about, what I see in terms of environmental justice, and especially around clean air and public health issues, from the perspective of an elected official. We know that there are injustices that people of color and low-income communities have in the fight for clean air, in the fight for clean water, and in just building healthy communities in general. We know that people of color and communities are more at risk from the impacts of air pollution, and we see that over and over. We have maps, we have the data that illustrates that our air quality is worse, and it overlaps here in Portland with where our freeways are located. And at the same time, the correlation between that and where we have high instances of free and reduced lunch and those children that are being impacted, we see that in the highest rate in the entire state of asthma here in Multnomah County. So we know that there's a lot of work to be done, and there's a lot of work to be done in taking equity into the consideration. So I hope that by the end of today that you are all in agreement that the time is past to ask the question if whether or not race is a factor in how the burdens of pollution are allocated, but rather, what are we going to do about it? Knowing that race, knowing that ethnicity, knowing that poverty is an issue, what are we going to do about it now? Are we going to be making changes in the way that things are done from this point forward? Are we going to be content with just following along with the status quo? The work that you've done today in answering these questions in a way that makes clear that true environmental justice is a priority for our region and our state, and we're going to demand that in the environmental policies and environmental partnerships that we have going forward. We need to take the ideals that we have already in Oregon's environmental justice laws and put those into action by protecting those that are most burdened by pollution today. My hope is that what you've learned today is going to be the roadmap in how Oregon tackles environmental regulations going forward by protecting the most vulnerable people first. We need Oregon and we need Multnomah County to be examples to the rest of the country on what we can do when we prioritize health first and people first. And I know that there's work being done right now in addressing that with air quality issues, and we need to continue that into other areas of policy as well. I wanted to share an experience that I had when I was serving in the legislature. Last year we passed the Clean Electricity and Coal Transition Bill. What this bill does is remove coal from Oregon's energy mix by 2030. And then by 2040, it sets the goal of having at least 50% of our energy come from renewable sources, which is a really great goal for us to have, and it's a way where we're continuing to be a leader in clean energy work in our state. But there's a part of this bill that talked about establishing community solar programs. And in that, there was a set aside of 10% of that community solar program for low-income communities. There was a push by some in Salem to remove that set aside, but through the work of people in this room and other community partners, we made sure that that was included in the bill. Now there's discussions happening at the state on larger carbon pricing issues and on larger clean air policies. And we need to make sure that our communities are not put on the back burner in those discussions. And I'm confident if that we work together and all of us in this room use our voices, we can make that need clear. And as we all know that sadly on a national level, we haven't had a lot of reasons for optimism lately. And apologies to the folks from the EPA in this room, but when the head of the EPA denies science, our whole country is suffering. When this administration threatens to defund the work of the EPA, the EPA, especially around the issues of environmental justice, we are in more precarious positions as people in communities of color. And so there is work that we need to do. We need to step forward and continue to work really hard on the local and state levels to protect the gains that we've made around climate change, and in order to drive the protections and the values and needs of our communities. So we have to step forward more strongly than ever, and we have to be at the forefront of those discussions that are happening and ensuring that environmental justice plays the role it should in those discussions. I think that Oregon should use as a model the work that was done in California in making sure that the proceeds from their carbon pricing went to communities that have been most impacted by environmental injustices over the years, and that's something that we need to make sure is a part of the discussion that we're having here in Oregon. So we're really at a moment of truth right now. Are we going to take the initiative, continue to lead on environmental issues, and continue to make sure that environmental justice is at the forefront of those discussions? I am sure that we are going to answer that question and rise to the occasion with a positive way. This is our opportunity to show and model to the rest of the country the path that we need to take forward, to have a strong commitment both to the environment and to our communities. Environmental protections, environmental work, and justice work go hand in hand with economic growth and with people's health. They work together and have never been mutually exclusive. So I'm here today to stand with you as an ally, to stand with you in saying that I will be part of this work to take the initiative on fighting for our environment and fighting for social justice, and look forward to working with you on this going into the future. So thank you so much.